Greetings! Welcome back to another episode of Porygondolier. Are you sitting comfortably? In today's installment, we have a rather odd guest from the Johto region. Introducing X, the Unown, a very special hand-picked candidate, the eyeball in the rough, who will be taking on the solo run challenge of Pokémon Red. Coming right up after the intro. Unown can be found loitering around the ruins of Alph, available in 26 to 28 shapes, with dreadful stats and a learn set consisting of only one move. Since it was introduced in Gen 2, I decided to base my Gen 1 Unown on Gen 2 as closely as possible, and in Gen 2, the shape of the Unown, as well as the properties of its move Hidden Power, are decided by its individual genetics, also known as DVs. Firstly, the shape. Let's imagine an Unown with the following DVs. These are the DVs that all opponent trainer Pokemon have in Red and Blue. These get converted into binary, and some other maths happens which eventually spits out a number between 0 and 25, which each line up with an unknown letter. In our case, we have 0, so we get A. In any other solo run, I'd be setting my Pokemon's DVs to these very values for consistency, but that's not what I'm doing today. No. My Unown is an X, not an A. And to explain why, I first need to talk about Unown's one and only attack. The move Hidden Power can have any type except for normal, and its power can vary from 31 to 70. Since Unown's stats are so awful, I wanted to give it the best chance possible, so making use of its Psychic typing for the same type attack bonus feels like the way to go, especially since Psychic is famously the MVP type of Gen 1. Therefore, my goal was to have an Unown with Psychic type Hidden Power and the maximum possible attack power of 70. I used an online Hidden Power calculator which gives the following DV spread, and when we put these numbers into our earlier equation, we get 23, which lines up with X. This, in my humble opinion, is the optimal Unown for this playthrough, and together with my partner X, I'd like to see how far we can get through Pokémon Red. Against John, we can see that this variant of Hidden Power is actually a pretty good move for the early game. Its power of 70 is much better than the likes of Scratch, Ember, Water Gun and Vine Whip, so if I were to make a prediction, I think the early game shouldn't be too bad. A quick note on its special stat, I gave it the higher value of 72 inherited from its special attack. The justification for this is that all of the pure Psychic type Pokemon of Gen 1 were given a weaker additional stat in Gen 2 rather than a stronger one. I do a few wild encounters, and then, perhaps being a little overcautious for the Brock fight, I choose to fight John again in the optional battle, bringing Unown up to level 8. I then battle all of the bug catchers in the Viridian Forest, and fight Lightyear Man, putting Unown at level 11. And a few more wild encounters gets it to level 12. Now we can try Brock. X immediately lands a critical hit on Geodude, turning it into pebbles in a single mysterious shot. Hidden Power knocks off about 2/3 of Onix's HP, and this is much easier than I expected. In no time at all, the first gym is done. I reckon that might have been possible with minimal battles. Might give that a go later, but for now, I'm moving on. I get through Mount Moon without taking a single unit of damage, and since Starmie resists Psychic type moves, I decide to go battle John first. Hidden Power does about half to Pidgeotto, and a second one brings it down to the red. Pidgeotto crits with a quick attack. Ouch. After finishing off Pidgeotto, we get to fight Abra, which has no damaging moves, but resists Psychic type damage, so this takes a total of 5 shots. Rattata is a one-hit KO, and Squirtle comes out next. It takes the first one, and thankfully goes for a Tail Whip. Unown strikes again, and somehow, we won! I still don't want to fight Misty, so I head off to Bill's house. PP management is a bit of a pain, since Hidden Power is only good for 15 attacks, so I heal up a couple of times on the way. Still not wanting to fight Misty, I deal with the Dig TM Burglar first, and in this fight, his Machop drops in 1, but Drowsy is a pain, and I only have 4 PP left. 4 Hidden Powers are enough to knock it down to the red, and Struggle comes to the rescue. It was now my intention to go fight Misty, but having put it off for so long, I completely forgot and made my way to Vermilion. John III, a bit like John II, but now he comes equipped with a Kadabra, which goes about trying to disable Unown's only move. That might have been a good thing actually, since Struggle does physical damage, which Kadabra is not very fond of. Kadabra's Confusion attack does paltry damage, but leaves Unown in a dizzy state, and it proceeds to damage itself. Another hidden power gets Kadabra into the red, but then more confusion damage, and Unown is not happy. Thankfully, Unown is confused no more, and we finish off Kadabra. Now we just need some good luck for Wartortle. Hidden power does more than half, Wartortle shoots water, but Unown hangs on by a thread. One more, and we won. Nice. I then teach Cut to my Paris, and oh no, I forgot to invite Misty. So I nip into the Hole Digging fan club to tunnel back to Cerulean. And at level 25, I finally take on Misty. Hidden power almost one-shots the Staryu, but that's not too surprising to be honest, since it doesn't get its secondary psychic typing until it evolves. The Starmie fight begins, and even with a 5-level advantage, the damage of hidden power is pathetic, and she chips away at Unown faster than it can chip away at Starmie. She goes for an X defend, which is great since a defense boost won't help against hidden power, and that wasted move proves to be her downfall, as Unown concludes the battle with one more decisive attack. To be honest, I may have forgotten to battle Misty earlier, but based on how close that was, I think, despite the time loss, this was probably the way to do it. I can now make my way back to Vermilion, which only takes a couple of minutes to be fair. I go straight into the gym to play with some bins. Why bins, Lieutenant? Couldn't you put the switches in something more pleasant? Ugh, this switch is under somebody's banana peel. And this one has bin juice on it. The Voltorb and the Pikachu are no problem at all. The Raichu is a little more tanky, with hidden power looking like 3 shots, probably. But Thundershock does minimal damage. Now it's Thunderbolt, and that hurts quite a lot. But it's too late for Raichu, and I'll be taking your Thunder Badge, thank you very much. In Rock Tunnel, PP becomes a problem again, with me having to dig back to the start about halfway through. And the hiker that's been giving me so much trouble in previous runs is hardly even worth talking about. Once we get to Celadon, we can get 2 PP ups straight away, increasing the PP of hidden power to 21. We'll get one more later. Giovanni is a pushover. Wait, no he isn't. Knocked out by Kangaskhan? When does that ever happen? And being so overconfident, I didn't even bother to save before the battle. So I guess I'll go beat Erika first and come back later. And I have the type advantage in this gym, but it's actually 2 shots on each of her team, which signals to me that we've reached the point in the game where Unown's not so great stats are going to start to be a problem. What is this guy talking about? Bottle of water, and some calciums to boost special, Fly HM, and now I can't put off Giovanni anymore, so I go back in. But since I have the lift key already, I take the shortcut, meaning I have to fight this guy, and oh no, not a Drowsy. The Drowsy puts X to sleep and then disables its attack. Struggle brings it down easily, but it's less than ideal for his Machop. Wait, Drowsy and Machop? Is that you, Burglar Man? And I don't have any super potions, so I guess I'm going back. And when I return to the rocket hideout, I quickly discover that this wasn't even a shortcut. It only opens from the other side, which makes perfect sense if you think about it. Finally, I get back to Giovanni and one-shot his first 2 Pokemon. He uses a guard spec on Kangaskhan, and Unown brings it down in 2. Spooky John. Hidden power gets a so-called Gen 1 miss. Then it's a one-shot, and the same for Growlithe. A remarkable critical hit one-shot on Execute, despite its psychic typing. Kadabra is 1, 2, 3, and Wartortle. Ooh, that was close. Okay, the rest of the tower is easy since Psychic trumps Ghost in Gen 1, and now we can move on to Snorlax. This can be troublesome if it takes more than 3 shots due to rest, but while it's sleeping we finish it off just in time. And now we can access Bicycle Path, where I've heard there's a hidden PP up that I don't think I've ever gotten before. It's down here, somewhere on the right hand side. The slope makes this really difficult, and yeah, there it is. And with that, Unown gets its maximum PP of 24. As you probably know, Koga runs a poison-type gym. A poison-type gym? Yeah? Okay. And this is completely my fault, because I walked in front of this guy by accident, but why do you have a level 38 Hypno? Look at that damage. Come on mate, you're in the wrong gym. I'm not fighting him again. Now for the first battle in the gym that actually is mandatory. Drowsy! Poison type gym my... 4 shots? Okay. Another Drowsy. Oh, and Hidden Power is disabled. Struggle is much better. The disable wears off, and Hidden Power just falls short. Alright, what's next? Kadabra? Oh, the damage is bad. At least Drowsy and Hypno learn Poison Gas. The only poison move Kadabra learns is Toxic from the TM, and literally every Pokemon that can use TMs can learn that. This Drowsy is down, so back to Kadabra. Ouch. Oh, it's close. No! The worst thing about losing that battle is that I have to do it all again. 3 Drowsies and a Kadabra. Right, let's do some training. You probably know that in Gold and Silver, if you tune your radio to 13.5 at the Ruins of Alph, you can hear a strange radio station. But according to Bulbapedia, the music actually boosts the chances of you finding unknown shapes that you haven't encountered yet. However, I've been digging through the source code and found no evidence of that. What I did find is that the music causes the flat encounter rate to double. It could be the mechanic is hidden deeper in the code somewhere. Perhaps I'll do some testing on this in a future video. 3 levels later, the damage seems a bit better, and he keeps switching out, which helps. Unown is poisoned. Finally something appropriate for this gym. Wow, he really likes switching out. Drowsy helps me activate Struggle again. And this comes in handy for Kadabra, knocking off 95% of its HP in one go. And with another Struggle, poisoned, somewhat worse for wear, we manage to defeat the inappropriately placed Juggler. After healing up, we can battle another Juggler, and he leads with Drowsy. This one is 5 hits to KO, and Unown gets poisoned in the process. The Juggler sends out Hypno. Hypno takes very little damage from Hidden Power, and Unown is quickly running out of Mysterious Beams as the poison sets in. Hypno helps me to once again invoke Struggle, but with the recoil, the headbutting, and the poison, the battle ends in a draw, which means we lost. In my frustration, I went for a soft reset, only to realise that I didn't save after defeating the first Juggler. I then lost to that Juggler several times, and decided to go do some more training. After clearing out the trainers east of Fuchsia, I remembered the fighting dojo. With type advantage against fighting types, Unown easily takes out everything in the Not a Gym gym. That brings Unown up to level 45, but I've had enough of Koga's gym for now, so I head over to the Sylph Cove first. I don't expect to have an easy time here though, with Johnny 5 standing guard. Just let me through, John. I'm here to fight crime. Pidgeot sneaks in a quick attack, and a furious Unown retaliates to ground the bird in 1. Growlithe roars. I love the AI in this game. Now for some psychic eggs. Wait, what if all the eggs are psychic? Maybe the eggs are reading our minds. Now Alakazam is the biggest problem by far. That damages, what, a 6th? And it has Recover. Oh, disabled. Okay, this could work. Big damage with Struggle. Look at that recoil. Hidden Power is back, but it's okay. One more and we squeeze through to Blastoise with 27 HP. Less than half. Withdraw is good. Potion is good. We won. Grab the Lapras for free sea travel. Heal up with the nurse, and soon it's time to battle the boss. Sorry. There's nothing really to talk about here. This fight is basically over before it even starts. Right, Koga's gym, I guess. We've gained 6 levels, will it be enough? Actually, yes. with the improved damage output of Hidden Power, we are actually able to take down each of the Juggler's Pokemon in 2 or 3 hits. This is much more manageable. The other Juggler has a slightly stronger Drowsy, and this is still 4 hits, but it's Hypno that is the true boss in this gym. But with Perseverance, eventually Hypno is defeated, and now we can finally battle some poison types. Koga's Coughing is a one-shot, Muck as well, same for the other Coughing, 2 for Wheezing, and that's a clean victory, with no damage taken. For obvious reasons, I don't really want to fight Sabrina, which means it's now time for Blaine. This is a fairly straightforward battle, with only Arcanine giving me a little bit of trouble. And with that out of the way, I cannot proceed without battling Sabrina and her team of spoon-bending nuisances. First up is Kadabra, and we get a great start with a critical hit doing just over half. Kadabra's Psychic type attacks do virtually no damage, and with 2 more hits, Kadabra is down. Mr. Mime is pretty creepy, let's be honest, look at that face. Venomoth isn't a Psychic type Pokemon, and is easily dispatched. Now for another Alakazam, and this one doesn't know Disable. We quickly get into a loop of Hidden Power and Recover, and it's clear to me that the AI won't allow Alakazam to use any other move. This could actually work out though. By burning through all of Hidden Power's PP, we can access Struggle again, which should do great damage. And it does just under half, which is a problem, since Alakazam is still focused on recovery. Now in a loop of Struggle and Recover, Unown whittles down its own HP. And the only way we're going to win this is if Unown can do much more damage with Struggle. So I clear out a bunch more trainers, the other Snorlax, some swimming trainers, and some more swimming trainers, and come back a whole 8 levels higher and get into another boogie with Alakazam. This time, Struggle does more damage than Alakazam can recover, but of course, Unown takes recoil damage too, so the winner will come down to whichever Pokemon can put up with this for the longest. And by a small margin, Unown loses again. But this is progress. I decide to give Unown 4 of my rare candies. It doesn't have a mouth, it just sort of absorbs them through its eyeball. This time the struggle damage is just a little bit more. But that's all we need, and after all that, I obtain the highly coveted Marsh Badge. Let's not even talk about Giovanni. I'd rather talk about alphabet facts. I went on Google and discovered something really interesting. Apparently ampersand used to be part of the alphabet. I couldn't find any solid conclusion as to why it was removed, but it was speculated that it made the alphabet song rather difficult to recite. Ampersand itself has a crazy long history, going back to Latin, where it was formed by sticking an E and T together. Et literally meaning and in Latin. Over the years, this turned into what we have today. Anyway, here is an ampersand-shaped Unown concept that I drew just for fun. I think I'll call it Pretzel. Ooh, that's the last badge, which means it's now time to change the music. Oh, not like that. That's better. Let's kick this off with a one-hit crit on Pidgeot. Rhyhorn is also one-shot. Growlithe 2. Execute, that looks like about half. Can we get it in 2? Not quite. Here comes Solar Beam, but that's fine. Alakazam now, which is probably going to be the biggest bother here. It goes for Psychic, so at least it's not spamming Recover. It is doing quite a lot of damage though, and there's a Recover. Hidden Power crits, but it goes for Recover again. We keep chipping away, and eventually, with some good luck, Unown takes the victory. John's final Pokemon is Blastoise, and it looks like a 2-hit KO. Here comes Hydro Pump. Ooh, 5 HP. Well, that was close, but a win is a win. Having made my way through Victory Road, I salute the efforts of my valiant HM posse as I place them into Bill's PC. Most likely for good. Unown eyeballs my last 5 rare candies, meaning we can begin the league challenge at level 69. Against Dugong, the first hit puts it in the yellow, and its Aurora Beam does very little damage. Cloyster is very nearly defeated in one, and Spike Cannon is no trouble at all. Slowbro has Psychic typing, so this takes a bit longer, and thanks to it using a series of useless attacks and downing a super potion, we come out unscathed. Jinx is Psychic Ice, but the damage is actually pretty good, and this doesn't take too long. And Lapras is free. And that was surprisingly easy. I'm not even going to heal up for Bruno. He is, as always, completely powerless in the face of Psychic types. As expected, Unown easily dispatches each of his team. Now we get to hang on to our type advantage going into the Agatha fight, but she does have some tricky moves up her sleeves. And straight away Gengar puts Unown to sleep and proceeds to eat its dreams. I wonder if it dreams about Alpha Betty. I sure do. This goes on for some time, and when Unown does wake up, it's confused and attacks itself. Gengar then goes for Nightshade, and that is the end of that. In round 2, Lorelei's Jinx hits with Thrash multiple times, and by the time we reach Lapras, Unown's HP is low. On this occasion, Lapras is the winner. Well, that was just bad luck. HM fam, return to me, we have work to do. Thankfully, there are plenty of strong trainers on Victory Road. Elevated by 3 levels, we get a skin-of-your-teeth style victory against the Lapras. Don't even talk about Bruno, and hope for some better luck against Agatha this time. Straight away, unlike last time, we outspeed her Gengar, and we are very, very close to defeating it. It goes for Hypnosis again, but it fails, and next up is Golbat. This is Child's Play, as is Haunter, and Arbok. Her final Gengar with its higher level of 60 outspeeds Unown with Toxic, but it's no problem, Unown finishes it off on the next turn. Now we need to recover the PP of Hidden Power for the next fight. Lance has heard rumours of me. Yeah, I bet you heard I was using a strange shaped Pokemon with only one move to brute force an entire Pokemon game. That's just how we roll, man. Hidden Power is great against Gyarados, and Unown tanks a Hydro Pump admirably before finishing it off. Dragonair is 2 hits, and between it and the next one, they whittle Unown's HP down quite a lot. Aerodactyl is faster of course, but Unown refuses to lose to the likes of Bite. But again, Hidden Power is not enough, and we're very lucky that the fossil Pokemon's Hyper Beam misses its mark. This is bad though, 25 HP, and the final opponent is Dragonite. Hidden Power does less than half, and there's the Hyper Beam. Now I would say that the Lance fight was less close than it may have seemed. We probably need to one-shot those Dragonairs, or any future attempts will likely go the same way. Now this is by no means the fastest way to go, but I just fancied a trip to the power plant. And that is a very close victory against Zapdos. I'm now re-attempting the league 2 levels higher, and we can skip straight to Lance. Gyarados is still 2, Dragonair is actually still 2, and it goes for Hyper Beam. The second one is knocked out by a crit, and we're back in a similar state to last time for Aerodactyl. Supersonic fails, that's good. And fails again, that was very good. We're in a much better place this time for Dragonite. Hidden Power. Can we tank the Hyper Beam? Yes, just. Dragonite must recharge. There we go. That was a bit lucky, but I'll take it. Going into the final battle of the game, move animations are automatically enabled, so we get to see what Hidden Power looks like. Yeah, it's just Tri-Attack. Who doesn't love Tri-Attack? Pidgeot gears up for a Sky Attack. Big mistake. And it's taken down by Triangly Goodness. Right, Alakazam. 9 levels higher than last time. The last Alakazam of the game. It goes for a screen-bending Psychic Attack and gets the special drop. As a result, Unown's attack does virtually nothing. This looks like, what, maybe 7 attacks required? But of course, Alakazam comes equipped with Recover. Let the tedium begin! Ah man. Now for EXP, I go through the league again, deliberately not using an elixir before Lance, causing Unown to faint. Then lose to Lapras, not deliberately. Then to Gengar, also not deliberately. And once I'm satisfied with the level ups, the next league attempt proper begins at level 81. With no incidents this time, I make it all the way to Lance and one-shot each of his Dragonairs. We even outspeed Aerodactyl, and defeat that in one as well. Dragonite is now 2 shots, so up to here, that was pretty easy. Pidgeot is fine. Now let's see the damage on Alakazam. Better! Also, Unown is faster. With some good recover luck... never mind. And as if recover wasn't bad enough, he whips out a full restore. But finally, by persevering as only an eyeball-based lifeform can, we clear out Alakazam with 61 HP remaining. Rhydon is easy, of course. Arcanine gets in an Ember attack, and Exeggutor... oh no, this is horrendous. Oh dearie me. Okay, a bit more leveling up, and hopefully, with some luck... okay, that's a bit better. Okay, that was actually much better. Jumping ahead to Exeggutor, the damage is still pretty awful, but with several hits, it is defeated. 75 HP and 1 Blastoise left. Hidden Power, good damage. Blastoise goes for withdrawal. Yes, job done! Unown clears the game in a total of 8 hours and 1 minute at level 85. For those of you that are still with me at this point in the video, firstly, thanks! You are a beautiful person, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Secondly, if you're new here, I wonder if I could trouble you to check something for me. Somewhere on your screen or under the video, it's going to have my channel name, Porygondolier, with a number under it. If, and only if, the number happens to still be under 1,000, it means that I have not yet qualified for monetization. Regardless of your next action, YouTube is probably going to put my videos on your homepage. But if you unleash your hidden power on that big shiny subscribe button, you'll be helping me out tremendously on my YouTube journey. No pressure if you'd rather not. The choice is yours and yours alone. I look forward to welcoming you back to another video soon. For now, bye!